You might be asking, hey random person on the internet, why shouldn't I graduate college early? And you'd be right to ask that, since graduating from college early could be beneficial depending on various circumstances. After all, college nowadays costs an arm and a leg, and not all of us are rolling in the Epstein money. For reference, the median college debt in the US is a whopping $40,000. With that much money, you could rent a bunch of expensive shit and pose as a self-help guru on YouTube and rug pull some scam coin from your audience. So graduating college early would reduce the out-of-pocket cost and mitigate excessive student loans, potentially leaving you in a better financial situation compared to your peers who graduate in the standard 4 years or later. You also might think that graduating early allows you to enter the workforce earlier, and while that could be true, it's not always guaranteed, because getting a job nowadays is straight up impossible. Also, job hunting and actually having a job suck ass, and it'll destroy all your joy and passion for other things in life. But that's just how it is. Having a job, having no job, well, that's a topic for next time. Ultimately, what are you losing out when deciding to graduate early? Here are 3 things you should consider to see whether it'd be worth it for you.
Mr. Beast, give me some money. Yeah, give me some money. Mr. Beast.
In most cases, those who graduate early oftentimes do so within 3 years or 3.5, instead of the standard 4 years or more. However, by doing this, you do save time, but you lose out on other opportunities that could have greatly benefited your overall development. With less time to explore, you could potentially miss out on things like study abroad, volunteering, research, teaching assistantships, student organizations, or becoming a menace to society by joining a fraternity. Many of these extracurriculars oftentimes take up an entire semester, and even an entire school year, so by reducing the number of semesters you take, you may not actually get the time to pursue these activities. You can only do so much with the limited amount of time that you have, and while it may be enough to do a few of the aforementioned things, you never know what the other activities could have had in store for you. Moreover, cramming the few things you do have time for will make it more stressful and will eventually prevent you from participating in hobbies outside of school and academics. You may not have the time to play games, start a YouTube channel, or build your own drug trafficking empire, all because you're so preoccupied with doing as much as you can in a short amount of time, instead of spreading it across the full 4 years. All in all, when deciding to graduate early, think about what you can do and what you can afford to miss. Most colleges/universities utilize a credit system for coursework and graduation requirements. For most bachelors, it's usually 120 credits, with some programs requiring slightly more. When trying to graduate early, you're either coming into college with transfer credits or taking additional credits throughout the academic years. What this means is that you usually have a tight course schedule, as you're either overloading with extra coursework or taking harder classes early on because you already finished all the random gen eds and prerequisite requirements. With a strict schedule, you cannot afford to fail a course, as it could mean delaying your graduation by a semester or 2 and incurring more costs you were originally trying to avoid. Moreover, you put yourself at risk of receiving lower grades as you learn harder material without having had time to develop proper study habits. It's like your level 10 ADC trying to 1v1 the enemy top laner who's 3 levels and 2 items ahead. In most cases, unless you retake the course for a better grade or take easier additional courses, delaying your graduation, GPAs are permanent. Of course, not every major is the same, and some STEM programs may prove more difficult to pull these things off compared to liberal arts, social sciences, or business degrees. In conclusion, you can only make so many mistakes with a strict course schedule, and any setbacks will delay your plans of graduating early. For a lot of students, a major motivation to pursue higher education and major in a subject of their choice is often due to the desire for employment, either through internships or full-time jobs upon graduation or shortly after. Popular internships at top companies, internships and full-time hiring cycles are often on standardized schedules with specific summer programs for students in specific years, usually a student's junior year summer, right before entering the first semester of senior year. Applying too soon or too late could mean your resume ends up in a garbage can and getting ghosted for the rest of the year. There are some internship programs for sophomore summers and sometimes senior summers, or even during the academic year, but for the most part, Junior year summer is the main pipeline. When you plan to graduate early, you essentially speed up this internship cycle by having to apply to these internships earlier than if you had been on course to graduate in the standard 4 years. Since your grade year is classified by the number of credits you have, you could be a higher grade year in terms of credits, but not chronologically. Therefore, you would apply to the internships based on your grade year, credit-wise, indicating it on your resume and application details. Internships usually expect you to still have coursework to finish upon completion, but if you plan on graduating early and apply as if you were on a standard 4-year path, you most likely wouldn't qualify for these internships as you wouldn't have any coursework left. Moreover, applying to internships earlier than the standardized recruiting timeline could mean your resume may not be up to par compared to those you're competing with, as it may have an extra year on you. In certain fields like financial services, many major internships could start recruiting a year or two early because they absolutely hate you, thus complicating the timing of when you should apply and emphasizes a lack of meaningful experiences on your resume. A lackluster resume for competitive internships is a surefire way to get rejected and ultimately miss out on important professional opportunities. Graduating from college early can be both a positive and negative decision. Graduating early requires extensive planning from the beginning to the end of your academic career, and you must mitigate the potential risks that could delay your plans. By taking into account the 3 major points in this video, I hope that it'll help those potentially thinking about graduating early plan their course of attack, and for those graduating in the standard timeline, to focus on the aforementioned opportunities to ensure that you don't miss them, regardless of the amount of time that you have left in your degree. Good luck.
Oh, Mr.